Welcome to a new episode of Aha Moments with Joanie. These are unscripted slices of life. And I have a question for you to start this episode with. Think about all the stories that kind of rattle around in your head because they never had a resolution or the answer never made sense to you. You might call them, like I call them, personal mystery stories. So for this aha moment, I want to share with you one of my personal aha moment mystery stories. When I was a very young woman, I had the opportunity to go to Kenya and Tanzania on a safari. And we went to Salvo East, which is the largest of the national parks in Kenya, and it's renowned for their elephant population. And the renowned top of the line game warden was David Sheldrick and his new young wife, Daphne. And they had just built, this was long ago, this was in 1974, they built their lodge. And so for the afternoon, instead of going on a game run myself, I was sitting in the veranda and there was all these chairs and people were all there, and you look out into the wilderness. There's a salt lick pretty far out and a water hole. So I'm having a lively conversation with the man sitting next to me when I realize in my peripheral vision that everyone else has abandoned their seats and are way back. And I look up, and standing in front of me, literally not 7 feet away, is this giant elephant, and he has his ears out. So I look at the man next to me and I say, "Do not move." Because this elephant was close enough, he just could have picked me up in his trunk. And then he looked at me and he blew this blast of hot air right into my face. Then he put his ears down, he turned around, and he walked away. And I never had an answer to what was that all about. So we're going to cut to a year ago when I was lucky again after all this 50 years to be back in Botswana. And our game driver there, Ruben, I told him the story of what happened in 1974. And he said, when an elephant blows in your face, that means they like you. Well, that didn't exactly, I thought that was charming, but that didn't exactly sit with me either because Elephant didn't know me and I didn't know him. So just now, I was back in Kenya in Nairobi and I went to the Seldrick Wildlife Trust. And this is where they raise and care for elephants. And Daphne Sheldrick became a dame because Queen Elizabeth bestowed that title on her because she figured out the formula to keep these baby orphaned elephants alive. Because when they were in Salvo, there's tremendous amount of poaching. It just tightens me up even to say that there's so much poaching. And so there were these orphans. And if they didn't rescue them and figure out what kind of milk they could tolerate, because they cannot tolerate cow's milk. And she lost so many of these baby elephants until she figured out how to do it with coconut milk. So now they have this where you go out to the Wildlife Trust for an hour and you get to watch all these baby elephants, and each elephant has a caregiver that sleeps with them at night and raises them. It takes them to at least 5 years old to then go to a halfway house. So after we saw the babies all being fed, when we left, I went through the office and there were all these pictures of Daphne Sheldrick from 1974. And I looked at them and I said, I get it. That elephant wasn't sure and thought I was Daphne because in 1974 I was a very young woman and she was a very young woman. And so the elephant blew in my face, and then when my aroma didn't match up to Daphne's, he turned and walked away. So that's the resolution to the story that I've had in my head for 50 years. So think about some of the stories that you still have unresolved answers to, and maybe this aha moment will encourage you to go, I'm going to go see if I can figure out the really correct ending to the story that's going on in my head. And until you and I meet again, remember every morning to look into your mirror, smile at yourself, and say, yes, I am my own best friend, for I came into this world to be myself. For that I came. Thank you, and all my best.